I think brinkmanship, for all the nonsense that is written about it and spoken about it at the moment in the age of Trump, brinkmanship is highly overrated. The art of pushing everything to the edge without tumbling over into the abyss is an affliction of our time, and we live in an era of perpetual cliffhangers where every moment, political or personal, is imbued with the urgency of a season finale. It's time to put the La Duca boots on and to strut slightly further into safety. Um, and Unlike the carefully orchestrated chaos of television, real life doesn't benefit from suspenseful background music or a conveniently timed commercial break. In truth, we are simply not built for constant crisis. We're built for a charming musical. We're built for a moment from Hello Dolly. Well done, Imelda Staunton, of course. But brinkmanship is a favourite tool of the political class, and we have no shortage of practitioners. Why? Because they weren't loved when they were children. Consider Donald Trump's recent pronouncements on Hamas, the all caps doomsday ultimatum that reads like a rejected script from a Hollywood blockbuster. The language is absolute. It's over unless demands are met. Dead if they're ignored. Hell to pay is the final promise. This isn't just about one man. The whole world stage is dominated by leaders who traffic in permanent crisis, from Netanyahu's hard stance in Israel to Putin's nuclear brinkmanship in Ukraine. The global script is one of escalating crisis. And the problem? Nothing in politics or in life can exist infinitely at fever pitch. The Cuban Missile Crisis lasted 13 days. The Berlin blockade ran its course in a year. You can only hold a gun to someone's head for so long before your hand begins to shake. Brinkmanship, in fact, I can only hold my phone up for about for about 5 minutes at the very most before my hand starts to starts to get tired. I don't know what I've done to my hands recently, but I'm in permanent pain, sort of here and here. And as much as we and I think that's the point. As much as we despise bureaucracy, routine, and predictability, and I do, these are the silent architects of stability. We lament the dullness of Swiss politics, the predictability of Scandinavian governments, the mind numbing endurance of the British civil service, but that tedium is precisely what allows societies to function. The alternative is volatility, the kind of instability where coups happen overnight and leaders disappear without explanation. Consider Angela Merkel. For 16 years, she governed Germany with the charisma of an undertaker, an economist's precision, the personal excitement of a beige-filled cabinet. And yet her tenure saw Germany through economic crises, migrant waves, European upheaval, without veering off course. John Major's another example. The grey man. Compare Angela Merkel to Britain recently, where the last decade has delivered a revolving door of prime ministers, each promising radical transformation, each presiding over deepening instability. Political stability is underrated because it's inherently dull. It's inherently unremarkable. But it's only in calm waters that progress is possible. It's not only politics that suffers from an addiction to the extreme. The modern workplace glorifies in disruption, chaos, unpredictability, constant form filling. The cult of hustle tells us that routine is death, that the only way forward is through reinvention, upheaval, and relentless momentum, relentless movement. Yet history's greatest minds were creatures of habit. Barack Obama wore the same suits every day to eliminate unnecessary decisions. Um, President Reagan had the same haircut every day so that it never changed. Mark Zuckerberg follows the same logic, reducing cognitive strain by dressing identically every day. Warren Buffett has eaten McDonald's every morning for decades, not because it's wise, but because predictability frees up mental space. The late Queen Elizabeth II maintained an unwavering daily schedule, ensuring that in the middle of political crisis, the monarch projected order. It's not spontaneity but consistency that allows great work to be done. The myth that life must be endlessly exciting to be meaningful is frankly exhausting. On a more human level, the greatest joys in life stem not from adrenaline rushes but from quiet contentment. Science supports this. The human brain thrives on stability. Our happiest moments are rarely found in the fever pitch of uncertainty, but in the familiarity of routine, morning coffee, a regular break, the reality of a friend's company. I like my unchanging space if I can find it, if I can have it. I find change really disturbing. Why? Because I have an internal life which is constantly diverting. And I need something, I need a base on which to ground that. Consider sleep. Nothing is more destructive to mental health than disrupted sleep cycles. Yet, in a world where everything is presented as urgent, whether it's political upheaval or the latest Twitter scandal, we are constantly disrupted, pulled away from the very things that ground us. And the same applies to relationships. If a romantic partner were to keep a relationship in a permanent state of unpredictability, love bombings followed by withdrawals, grand gestures followed by unexplained silence, we would call that toxic. And yet, on a social level, we tolerate the same dynamics from our politics, our economies, our workplaces, because we've entered some sort of mad brinkmanship madness. Brinkmanship only works when it's the exception, not the rule. When everything is an ultimatum, when every negotiation is an existential crisis, when every policy debate is framed as life or death, when the effectiveness of pressure tactics erodes, then nothing is working. Markets hate uncertainty. Diplomacy cannot function in permanent escalation. Human beings need psychological safety to thrive. We need stasis. We need dullness. And yet, we're governed by people, systems, technologies, the media, that benefit from permanent anxiety, whether it's the politicians raising the stakes for votes, media outlets thriving on outrage, corporations manufacturing crises to sell solutions. The greatest trick of modern life is convincing us that drama is desirable. It's not. That suspense is a virtue. It's not. That excitement is the apex of our existence. It's not. Dullness, routine, boredom is what we all desire. The reality is far simpler than the crisis. Happiness thrives on routine. Stability is not failure. It's the foundation of everything that is good in life. So the next time you tell us that you want to live in exciting times, consider ahead. Consider the alternative, a world without cliffhangers, a world where the most thrilling thing in your life is the perfectly made cup of tea. That, quite frankly, is my dream.